Now I'm talking to Christine Allen, a spokesperson for the IF campaign. Christine, how's it going?
Aside from the weather, it's a really great day today. We got rid of 8,000 tickets. People have really been showing their support. There's dancing, there's singing, there's clapping, there's cheering, and it's all about making a noise to show the G8 leaders that we're really serious about wanting to hold them to account to make some significant changes to tackle hunger around the world.
Could you give us an introduction to the IF campaign, please?
The IF campaign is made up of about more than 200 different organisations across Britain and Ireland to really put pressure on particularly David Cameron as hosting the G8 in Lough Erne next week. The four main issues that the IF campaign want to address are around making the UK government continue to commit to aid, which has been a successful result on that one. Secondly, to really make some big changes around tax, to hold companies to account around tax, to make sure that tax is paid where it should be paid. The third issue is around land, making sure that there's agreement around land not being used for fuels but being used to grow food and also to prevent land grabs. And finally, the fourth issue is about transparency, about shining a light on the kind of dodgy dealings both from governments and large corporations that stand in the way of resources getting towards people in poverty.
Yeah, I was reading a big article in The Guardian today saying that David Cameron is going to bring the new transparency as regards tax into Britain. So, but it's still on the agenda for the IF campaign that it'll be a G international.
Well, the leaders, there's been a tax and transparency summit going on in London today, and I can tell you actually that I have heard on the Twitter sphere that 10 tax havens have signed up to that convention, which is an incredible outcome for us. We're still waiting for it to be fully confirmed by number 10. Overseas territories and crown dependencies, which is more than we ever thought we would. Really comfortable. It just seems to be a massive change in culture at the moment. They kind of realise that it's just not working. Everyone, including the OECD, the Organisation for International Economic Cooperation and Development, in that Paris-based think tank, says that the global tax system isn't working. So tax has been a really important issue around this weekend, and we're hoping to hear more today, later today, and also obviously on Tuesday when the final communique comes out. But I think it's been a really significant success for us as a campaign.
That's brilliant, yeah. And there was a conference on nutrition in London last week. Is that on the agenda of the G8?
The conference on nutrition last week took place then because it's not on the agenda specifically for the G8. I mean, as I'm sure you can imagine, the G8 agenda is pretty packed. Syria is going to dominate quite a bit. The tax stuff is going to be kind of reaffirmed, and obviously that's why David Cameron wanted, I think, to separate the nutrition and indeed the tax summits into two separate things so that he could really address those issues in full. The G8 kind of style of things, it doesn't necessarily lend itself to in-depth conversation and discussion. But hearing the results, we got some good promises from the nutrition summit last weekend as well. So I think overall Britain can be really proud of itself here.
That's brilliant, Christine. Just to finish up, I've only after arriving here today a few minutes ago, so the event today started at 2 o'clock. Have I missed much at the event?
You've missed some great singers with speakers from across Africa talking about their own experience of land grabs in particular. We've had a really strong contingent from Scotland and Wales come over as well. So I think you haven't missed it all, because there's certainly Suzanne Matale from the Zambian Council of Churches still due on the stage to talk about tax in particular, and we're hoping that she'll make the announcement to the crowd about the tax havens. It's been a great day with singing, dancing. It's got a festival fiesta feel, even though we're here for a very serious issue of holding David Cameron and the rest of the G8 to account.
And if people want to find out more about the IF campaign, what's the best way to do that?
There's a website, www.enoughfood.org.
Okay, Christine, thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, tá me caintelis le Máirtín Ó Muilleoir an tArd-Mhéara-Lord de Belfast. Máirtín, comes hot.
An mar fad, Darren is going to my head as Lord Lumenu,
Cogarges also Octave Tuffa Mar Ardvardo Belfast.
Carmichael agus bhí súlam go méid an amsir inta mile linma Mahal mar TArd-Mhéara-Lord for me Trino Carolais ach mar tá go nniu an Big If an seo mel first tan amsir go hanis ach tan spirit go mai.
Agus conas atá cuasaí mé first an deir seachtain na seo leis an GA ag teach go Fermanagh an leon.
Well, she don't want to that week. Don't think you like a tag like a chassis or son, Carta Donda or son, Galore BA. If you Gactin you're doing or son in Kirch. If you may need to lose and you like channel no layers in the yard coming to me the hall in the carhack. Agus Nadini being Shin Boy, come out and cheat at the torch archer or Nadini is Bochtaineacht or doing August Foster, come out Jerry Lacogu, August come out, Roddy come out. Muoinen til ranta go cór agus in seo an éise a bar botanic tá olscafte bailí anion na Hampshire agus éis tá sé a seaú don rud cíanna go mbeadh go leor bí gachtain ar dóin.
An raibh tú ag an ócáideanna níos luúthe níú an ócáideanna?
Fí agus hí mé gurú sé th bar ag na ceard cuman an léirsú areachtail go maiid fí léirsú ag loch na mrathathe agus faoi bualan go méidir go mbeadh Chanason idir an loch na mrathathe Dan ar fé agáid na geard cuman rud an neanse de graach agus ach tíri go maiid le rudaí agus ar náid tá Bochtaineacht agus Bochtainí ar an talhahanid agus bóilen go méid an Bochtaineacht atá a deanú bóilen go méid sé céalaí agus bóilen nach méid sé a choristeachar na daoine atá anseo le seaasúir son an Kirch.
Tá tú tufa inis mar an TArd-Mhéara-Lord Belfast just seachtain ó gá nach bhfuil?
Bhil sin é bé mé rá heachtain an sa fást teúin na seatain seogaine bhí mé an Muilleoirach de céirín Jardín na seatain seo agus de híine hanig mé rééis réir tá mar rééis seo aniu mé first agus bhfuil mé an mé sin bhéar a Bloomberg fadas bhí mé Muilleoirach agus tá stoigh go tuair le festa gachtainine bhfuil Belfast Jana go Hamway agus Thomas Kinchick or Sean Tam leis chahar hort na chélogs le brúhan cin.
Just ag fága le caint faoin G8 tá Josh Gale ag seacht amach aniu ó haven na tax havens bhfuil siad ag seacht ar board bhfuil cuiide ag seacht ar board an bhfuil tú dógsach go mé ra ar na agóidí an factus if seo agus na drámanna eile tá ag obair leis an GA ag teacht.
Well sin gur breisiú Phríora tan go bhfuil tóir an éis orthú sinna tá géirí cain a chur a bhhalach sin ráite aontaim le Joseph Stiglitz sin gur cóir go bhfuil bailach eán nach ga go mé capital agus daoine bhfuil capital acu go méid siad a rá le Bochtaineacht dé mar scór an múna Agallamh a Rockdale institutíir sogaine agus tá méid dáthas ach go fáil creidem gohfuil daoine nachbhfuil sásta chorm na féine a thuirta geniality na bhfuil sásta a scír híana éachos go gaiimiid brú chur a gachtain ar go háir ar na hol cólachtaí cai siad a goide éach mar cain le gur féidir in na service a chur fáil do gachtain ar dóin le bhfuil service bonus a gachtain ar dóin agus nach mé an taint a réim an sa dóin ach go mé an Bochtaineacht a réim an sa dóin.
Okay, Máirtín, bhí si just buil agus ámór an bblion tá macrán.
Gur cé mar leis cíam gach ratha leat na lefa bu me gis leis am go chéile go háirs nuair a níosih teacht le chéile nó cóchlá le radio fáilte so go níor 11 san am atá roin.
Suzanne, how's it going? Suzanne, could you introduce yourself please to our listeners first?
Yeah, sure. My name is Suzanne Matale. I am an ordained minister in the Methodist Church, and currently I'm the General Secretary of the Council of Churches in Zambia. The Council, as the name suggests, is an umbrella organization that brings together several member churches who come from a traditional background. You know, they come together at CCZ as a platform where they can unite together with one voice, and also it's an opportunity for them to have informed opinions on issues, especially those that directly affect the people of Zambia vis-a-vis those who are the poorest of the poor.
Are you enjoying the event here today in Belfast?
I am glad to be here, except for the weather. It's too cold for me, but I think the event has gone extremely well. I'm glad I was invited to come, because the issue at hand is an issue that requires immediate, urgent attention. And so I am here to support this big campaign in which I believe.
You're from Zambia and you live in Zambia?
Yes, I'm from Zambia. I was born and bred and educated in Zambia. Yes, I've been there all my life. Yes.
And have you been involved in the IF campaign for long?
Yes, I've actually been involved not only in the IF campaign, but I was also involved in the End Poverty campaign with the Christian Aid. I was also in Greenbelt to discuss the same issues of poverty and how we can end together, especially this big tax evasion campaign. It's so big, and if we can win this over, I think the world will be a better place to live in, especially for those people who live in the so-called developing countries, because we know that our resources are being plundered. We know that there's a big scramble for resources and minerals from our continent, and therefore it's only correct, it's only noble that the world owns up to redistribution of the resources that come out of our continent.
Yeah, I was talking to Christine earlier from the IF campaign, and there's great news after coming out today already with 10 tax havens saying they're going to be transparent now. Are you hopeful that the G8 meeting in Fermanagh on Monday and Tuesday will get good results from it?
I am very, very hopeful, because I know that once the Prime Minister of UK, Mr. David Cameron, has very strongly spoken about these issues, and he has also proposed the way forward for tax havens, I have no doubt in my mind that he can influence his fellow leaders in the G8 to come up with a covenant or a convention that is going to help us to make these multinationals, or in fact to force them to be transparent and to be open about their operations, especially in terms of how they report their finances and how they report their exports to the countries in which they operate. I am highly hopeful, especially with the news that came out that Cameron, in his meeting today, has announced that as far as the UK is concerned, that's the direction they are going, towards transparency. And I'm sure he will have huge influence on the rest of the G8 members.
Okay, Suzanne, it's been great talking.